We'll begin kneeling today, so come down to your knees, rest your hands in your lap, and close your eyes. And begin with a few breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Landing on your mat and allowing whatever came before to just dissipate away as you start to become more present in your body and mind. And now cross your hands at the wrists and then place them on your chest so that the fingertips are resting on the muscles underneath the collarbone on the opposite side. Thumbs are nestled in beside each other, elbows relaxed. And now just begin to tap rhythmically and evenly on those muscles, as lightly or as hard as you like, not too hard though. Eyes closed, breathing naturally, allowing that steady beat to kind of drum you closer to your center. Continue like this for a few more breath cycles. And now begin to slow the tapping down to a complete stop before bringing the hands together over your heart, taking one last inhale in through the nose and out through the mouth, and then blinking the eyes open. And from here we'll make our way into tabletop, so coming onto all fours, hips over top of the knees, shoulders over the wrists. Spread the fingers wide, really plant through the entirety of the palms here. Feet flat on the ground. On your inhale, begin to drop the belly down to the ground, pull the chest through the arms, take the gaze up for cow. And exhale, push through the hands, curl the spine up to the ceiling, tuck the gaze to navel for cat. 4 more times with your breath cycle. So inhale as you sink the belly down to the ground and pull the chest through the arms. And exhale as you push through the hands and puff the back up to the sky. Keep the shoulders away from the ears as you move into that cow spine, and really utilize that pushing through the hands and engagement of the shoulders to get more out of your cat. Last round here. And come back to a neutral spine. Now tuck all 10 toes underneath you and start to move the hips back onto your heels, walking the hands back as far as you like, maybe coming to sit all the way up, with your hands resting in your lap and breathing into that deep stretch along the soles of your feet. And then bring the hands out in front of you so that you can untuck the toes, sit your hips once again back onto your heels, walk the fingertips back, tent them, and perhaps lift the knees any amount, keeping a slight sickle in the foot here to find that stretch at the front of the ankle. If it's too much, you can lift one knee at a time and then the other. Slowly lower the knees down, reach the hands out in front of you, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Taking this first one, giving yourself time to pedal out your feet, bending one knee at a time and stretching the other heel down close to the mat. Come back to stillness. And we'll flow through this, so start to lower the knees down, keep the toes tucked, walk your hands back for that sole of the foot stretch. Continuing to breathe naturally. Hands come in front of you so you can free the toes, tops of the feet on the ground. Sit back once again. Use the fingertips to support you as you float the knees up. Lower the knees down, hands out in front of you, tuck the toes, hips up and back, downward facing dog. You can keep a bend in the knees or start to work those legs straight as the heels move closer down to the mat. Lower the knees down, keep the toes tucked, and move yourself back into that stretch. Continuing to breathe and thinking about each transition through these movements being fluid, soft, and continuous. Hands out in front of you, untuck the toes. Sit back and maybe float one or both knees. Knees come down, hands out in front of you, tuck the toes, press through the hands, lift the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Breathing here, stretching out the backs of the legs, pushing through the hands to find length in the spine. Lower the knees down once again, this time untuck the toes and then walk the knees back a few inches so that you can start to lower the hips and the belly down to the mat, but come up onto your elbows. So the elbows are stacked underneath the shoulder for Sphinx. Arms parallel, fingers spread wide. Slightly drag the hands back on the mat as you inhale and pull the chest through the gateway of the arms. As you exhale, slightly push the hands forward, puff the spine up to the sky, and tuck the gaze. Inhaling for that cow spine in Sphinx, and exhaling for cat. We'll do this one more time. Play with taking the gaze a little bit higher on this last one, and really push through the hands and the elbows to puff your spine up. Back to neutral. Begin to lower yourself all the way down, taking your fingertips out wide of the shoulders and come up onto the tips of them so they're tented, elbows up to the sky. On your inhale, begin to push through the fingertips up to a cobra. And exhale, begin to dip one shoulder down to the mat as you take the gaze underneath the other shoulder. Inhaling as you come up through center, push through the fingertips. Exhale, drop the other shoulder down, gaze under the opposite arm. Continuing like this a few more times. So try to keep the elbows high up as you drop one shoulder down and gaze under the other. Back through center. Lower all the way down, place the hands under the shoulders and come through tabletop, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Beginning to flow a little bit more here. Spread the fingertips wide, feet about as wide as the hips, gaze between the feet, lengthen the spine. Inhale, lift the right leg up and back, three-legged dog, and as you exhale, start to open up the hips and bend that right knee so that the right heel comes towards the glutes. Begin to take some ankle rolls, circling the foot in either direction. And then slowly place that foot back down to downward dog, and inhaling, lifting the left leg up now. Exhale, open and bend that left knee and start to take ankle rolls. Continuing to breathe, of course. And then with a lot of grace and reverence, slowly step that left foot down next to the right, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg, three-legged dog, this time holding for a few breaths, keeping the hips as square as possible, pointing the toe, really activating the strength of the back leg. On your next inhale, begin to bend that leg, pull the knee in towards the chest, come high up onto the toes of the left foot, push through the hands, and exhale, step the foot between the hands, lowering the back knee, untucking the back toes. Stabilize through the right foot and the top of the left foot as you inhale the arms up to low lunge, and exhale, settle yourself in. Inhale, cactus the arms open as you puff the chest up to the sky. Exhale, curve the spine back behind you as you draw the elbows together. So inhale, open up, maybe the gaze goes up too. Exhale, slightly tuck the pelvis as you puff the spine back behind you, elbows together. One more time, inhale, open. And exhale, draw everything in. On your next inhale, simply lengthen the spine, reach the arms back up overhead. Shine the palms forward as the fingertips lengthen up to the sky, and breathe here to find a slight back bend. Feeling that stretch all down the front of the left side body. And then float the hands down to frame the front foot. Staying up on your fingertips or place blocks under your hands. Inhale, find length in the spine. Exhale as you draw the hips back, straighten the front leg, fold over the leg with flexed toes. Inhale back to that low lunge. And exhale, pull yourself back to this half split. One more time, inhaling as you pull yourself forward, deepening that low lunge. And exhale, make your way back to a half split, settling in here for a few breaths. So once again, place blocks under your hands if you need a little bit more height. Flex the toes up towards the face. Keep the spine long and the chest shining forward. Even if that means you're not folding completely over the leg. We haven't warmed up too much, so we don't need to push too hard here. Begin to bend into the front leg. Bring the hands to the inside of the right foot. Pivot on the left knee so the left toes go back behind you towards the right side of the mat. And then walk your hands all the way to the back of the mat. Right foot plants flat on the ground. Sweep the right arm up overhead alongside the ear for a long side body stretch along the right side. Option here to float the right leg, pointing the right toes for some activation in those glutes and outer leg muscles. Lower the leg down if it's lifted. Breathe here for one last stretch. And then walk the hands square out in front of you. You may need to walk that right foot out slightly. Inhaling here, puff the chest forward. Exhale, begin to push through the hands and lower the hips all the way down to that left heel. Two more times, inhaling, come back up onto the hands. And exhale, draw the hips all the way back behind you. One more time, inhale, bring yourself up. And exhale, draw yourself back, holding here for a couple of breaths. Spine long, breathe into the inner thigh of that right leg. And then slowly use those hands to pull yourself back up. Cross the right knee behind the left knee, and we'll make our way into Gomukhasana legs. So start to sit your hips back between the heels of your feet. This may be a lot. If so, it's a little bit more accessible if you keep the heels closer in towards the hips. If you find you need a little bit more, bring the feet out more in line with the mid-thighs. Knees stacked on top of each other, both glutes planted down into the earth. You can rest your hands on your knees or on your feet and feel free to close the eyes to breathe into this amazing stretch. Open up the eyes. From here, all we're going to do is plant that left foot on the earth next to the right knee. Make sure that right heel is tucked in close to the left hip. Left hand back behind you. Sit tall. Inhale, reach the right arm up. Exhale, sweep the arm around the left knee and hug it in towards the chest for a simple spinal twist. Option to take the gaze over the left shoulder. Continue to breathe. And then thoughtfully unwind out of that. Take the left leg and place it next to the right, holding on to the left ankle with the left hand. Inhale, reach the right arm up overhead, and then exhale, side bend over to the left. Breathing into the side ribs. On your next inhale, come up to sit. Right hand down to the mat, left hand cartwheels over to meet it, and make your way back to all fours. Keep the knees together here, and then lift the feet and simply wag your tail. So swing the feet over to one side of the mat, gaze follows, and swing them over to the other. Just to stretch out the side body here. And then make your way back to center. Tuck the toes, push through the hands, lift the hips up and back down. We're facing dog. Flowing to the other side now. So inhale, lift the left leg up, three-legged dog, and hold here as you breathe. Remember to keep the hips square, point the left toe, activate the strength of the back leg. And on your next inhale, begin to come high up on the right toes as you bend the left knee in towards the chest, push through the hands, and exhale, step the foot between the hands. As softly as you can, lower the back knee, untuck the back toes. With your firm base of the feet, inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, and exhale, settle into low lunge. Inhale, cactus the arms, puff the chest up to the sky. Exhale, tuck the pelvis slightly, curve the spine back behind you as you draw the elbows together. Inhale as you open. And exhale, sew everything in together. One more time with your breath. And then lift the arms back up alongside the ears, shine the palms forward, fingertips long towards the sky. Perhaps take a slight back bend, take the gaze up as you breathe. Float the hands down, frame the front foot on blocks or high up on the fingertips. Inhale, find length in the spine. Exhale, draw the hips back for your half split, flexing the front foot. Inhale, flow forward, low lunge. And exhale, walk the fingertips back, half split. One more time, inhale, pull yourself forward. And exhale, draw yourself back, breathing here in a half split stretch. Remember to keep the spine long and the chest shining forward. Maybe that means you stay a little bit higher up with props under your hands. Bend back into that front leg, hands to the inside of the foot. so that you can pivot on the right knee, right toes go back behind you, open up to the side of the mat and walk the hands all the way to the back of the mat. And then planting into that right hand, lift the left arm, sweep it up overhead. And if you'd like, float the left leg, pointing the toes long. Either way, enjoying this long line of energy and stretch in the left side body. Lower the leg if it's lifted. Walk the hands out, square out in front of you. And you may need to walk that left foot out once or twice. Keep it flat on the mat. Inhale here. Exhale, draw the hips back, lower the head. Inhale, draw yourself up. And exhale, lower the hips all the way down. One more time. And here, pause with the hips resting on that right heel. Breathing here into the inner left thigh. Come back onto your hands. Now here, cross the left knee behind the right. Open up the feet slightly so that you can sit your glutes down on the mat between your heels. Knees are stacked here for this Gomukhasana stretch. Remember, you can keep the heels closer into the hips for less intensity. And if you'd like a little bit more, start to draw those feet further away from your body. Option to close the eyes, to simply breathe here. This can be quite an intense, powerful stretch, so whatever might be coming to mind right now, let it be there. Try not to hold on to it, and continue to breathe, trusting your body's allowance to open up a little bit more. Blink open the eyes and then step that right foot on the opposite side of the left knee, setting up for your spinal twist. So tuck the left heel into the right glute, right fingertips back behind you, sit tall. Inhale, reach the right arm up overhead, and exhale, hug the right knee close into the body as you twist. Unwind out of that. Take the right leg and place it next to the left, holding on to the right ankle. Inhale, sit tall as you reach the left arm up overhead, and exhale, mermaid stretch over to the right. Breathing into the left side ribs, trying your best not to collapse inward, but keeping the chest square and open to the side of the mat here. Sit up tall, cartwheel the hands down to the mat, make your way to all fours, and once again bring the knees together, lift the feet, and wag your tail side to side. Come back to center, knees as wide as the hips. Walk them back slightly, but keep the hips stacked high on top of the knees. Begin to walk the hands far out in front of you to the corners of the mat and melt the chest down to the earth for puppy. If it's more comfortable for your neck, you can keep the forehead resting down on the mat, or you can take the chin to the mat as you take the gaze forward in between the hands. With each exhale, allowing the opening to happen and the chest to melt closer down to the earth. Slowly make your way out of that, walking the hands back up to all fours. And now take the legs as wide as the mat, keep the toes together, and sit your hips down onto your glutes, setting up for a wide leg hero's pose. You may need to lift the hips and tuck the tailbone under slightly. Now you can stay seated here with the hands slightly back behind you. If you'd like to go a little bit further, lower down onto your elbows underneath your shoulders, hands on the feet. Breathing into the fronts of the thighs and your psoas, those deep core muscles. If you'd like to go further still, slowly and thoughtfully lower down onto your back. Take the arms overhead and hold opposite elbows. Whichever depth you choose to take this to, close your eyes and continue to breathe. If you're on your back, make your way up to your elbows. And from there, place your hands underneath you to lift yourself up to sit. Take the hands out in front of you, bring the legs together, and lower the hips down to your glutes. Lower the head down to the mat for a narrow child's pose. And you can take the arms alongside the body with the backs of the hands resting on the mat next to your feet. Take the hands under the shoulders to come up to sit. Sit your glutes to one side so you can swing the legs out in front of you. Feet on the mat, keep the knees bent, holding onto the backs of the thighs. And very, very slowly, one vertebra at a time, lower yourself all the way down to your back. Once you're down there, walk the feet close in towards the glutes. Hands down beside your hips to start, rooting down into the ground. Start to tuck the pelvis, push through the heels of the feet, lifting the glutes up towards the sky. Chest moves close towards the chin for bridge. Keep the gaze up to the sky. Option to stay here in a solid bridge, breathing through the pose, or lift the arms up overhead so the shoulders and the backs of the hands pin down onto the earth above you. Try to keep the arms exactly as they are, shoulders pinned to the earth as you slowly lower the hips all the way down, finding a lot of length in the spine here. And then once they're down, sweep the arms down alongside the hips. We'll go for one more. So start to push through the heels of the feet, engage the glutes, lift the hips up to the sky for bridge. Option to stay here, simply breathing, or sweep the arms back up overhead. Backs of the hands and the shoulders stay rooted into the earth as you begin to slowly melt the hips all the way down. Once you're down there, peel the feet up off the mat, lift the shoulders and the head, and hug the knees in towards the chest. Reach for the outer edges of the feet. Hold on to the feet as you lower the upper body back down and open the knees wide for happy baby. So generous bend in the knees here. Try to keep the low back long on the mat. You can stay here or start to draw the left knee down to the earth so that the right hip starts to lift, and you can start to stretch the right leg any amount. Bend the right leg, roll back through center, then start to rock over to the right, stretching the left leg. Nice and slow. The leg doesn't have to stretch completely, doesn't have to stretch at all. And come back to center. We'll release our grip of the feet, bring the feet back down to the mat. We'll finish with a simple but very grounding breath technique. I like to take the feet as wide as the mat here and allow the knees to just fall in and lean up against each other. You can take your left hand over your low belly and your right hand over your chest. We'll finish with very simple box breathing, which is 4 counts in, 4 counts to hold, 4 counts out, and 4 counts to hold. So take an inhale in and exhale all the air out. And we'll begin inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. And now just let your breath move naturally, letting go of any control. Feel free to stay here, or you can take the legs and the arms long, wide of the body for your Shavasana. Once you are in your Shavasana, allow the weight of your body to be held by the earth and gift yourself the next few moments or so to really do nothing. Thank you so much for practicing with me today, and I look forward to the next time. Take really good care.